And here we go. Okay, it's Monday morning. I've started a bit earlier than the other live streams for the Artist's Way. If you didn't get a notification, I'm not surprised. I just set it up today, so can't blame YouTube. That's me. And I also realized as I opened my Artist's Way book, whoops, I didn't have the notes done for week 7. Welcome to How Things Are Going. If you're able to join me during the live stream, I'll be on for a little bit as I'll be chatting about week 7 from The Artist's Way, and then just doing some reading, craft, productivity sprints in between up until 12 o'clock. So if you're at 12 o'clock Eastern time, I should say, if you're able to join, thank you so much for being here. If you're on Team Rewatch, thank you so much. I do need to go back on the other live streams and timestamp when I've talked about the summaries. One thing I did notice going through this time, I read my chapter and I've been working through some of the exercises from previous weeks. And I noticed that the copy of the workbook that I've showed before is from a different year than this copy of the book that has each chapter and the activities in it. This one, and I want to see, did I write it down here? I did. So the one book is from 2006. That's the exercise book that I have. And it's not quite the same as this anniversary edition from 2002. So heads up, if you're looking to work through the exercises, you have to check that you've got the same edition for the book and the workbook. So I'm willing to bet if I go through my workbook with the other copy that I have of The Artist's Way, that includes her other 2 programs, Finding Water and Walking in This World, they'll probably match because they were all the same year. I'll have to double check on that textbook. If this is your first time popping by, been working through The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. It's a 12-week program, and it's designed for anyone. So whether you're an artist, as in musician, writer, actor, content creator on a social media platform, or just wanting to get some inspiration in your everyday life, it's an excellent program to work through. And Julia shares her own experiences. In particular, she talks quite a bit about her recovery. She is an alcoholic in the 1970s. She worked the 12-step program through Alcoholics Anonymous, and she is still a huge supporter of that program. Different things work for different people. I've shared that although I am very supportive of AA, it has helped a lot of people through the decades it has been around. There are other programs that also work and help. With The Artist's Way, and I say with any of these types of programs that you can do at home, the important thing is to make sure that you set it up and fine-tune it so that it works best for you. This particular program is set into 12 weeks, but sometimes life happens and you may have to tweak it a bit. Some weeks may go into 2 weeks to work on it. The important thing is not to get down on yourself about, oh, I should have been able to do that. I mean, the world right now and the weather is very chaotic, unpredictable. There are a lot of different things going on. So I would say do the best you can. Take it one day at a time. Be good to yourself. And remember that doing this type of program, whether it's the artist way or any of the other things you can pick up, it's about developing and improving self-worth, doing self-care, and feeling more positive and better about yourself. So if it takes you 2 weeks to finish one of the weeks of activities, then take the 2 weeks. If you need to put it aside for a bit and take care of other things, then put it aside for a bit and go back to it and pick it up when you're ready and you're able to focus on it. Like I said, this is about, as my screen goes crazy, this is about taking care of yourself, not being hard on yourself. So, as you can tell, my camera has decided not to play nice on the laptop. So, we'll have to see what happens here. And let's see if I can get my other camera set up because, like I said, life happens. So I guess timing was good to get another camera, and then I'll have to see if it works. If not, this is going to be one of those live streams where you hear me, but you can't see me. All right, so let's see if StreamYard is going to decide or if it's going to, well, that's the laptop one. So even though I have this in, for some reason, StreamYard isn't connecting with this camera. So I'm just going to do this, and it's going to be a it's going to be a you don't see me kind of, because for some reason it isn't picking things up. Well, welcome to technology and all the various joys. All right. Well, here we go. Week number 7. A sense of connection. How's that for comical? In the previous weeks, we've talked about building that foundation, making sure that we have something solid to build on. That's step number 1. And when I was in school, Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs definitely made a lot of sense to me. You can't build and improve on things unless you have a solid foundation. So you need to make sure you've got the basics taken care of first: shelter, food, all of that type of thing. And then you can start building onto other things on top of that. The first part that Julia mentions in week number 7 is about listening. Now, earlier on this channel, I went through the 6 weeks of the Listening Path program that was also created by Julia Cameron. There's fewer exercises in that program, and she talks about her different experiences, connecting in with the sounds around you, the importance of listening to other people, not always wanting to jump in before someone finishes their thought, and really focusing on what other people are saying. Now, in this week, she talks about the ability to listen is a skill. Pages train us to hear past our censor. Now, when she mentions pages, she's talking about the morning pages, which I have mentioned before. I do a different type of journaling, but Julia's suggestion is first thing in the morning to do 3 pages of stream of consciousness writing. And it's just basically clearing up your head of all those thoughts in there. So you're not going for paragraph form, perfection, correct spelling, anything like that. It's just clearing your mind so you can start your day without all that clutter in it. I tried it the first time I did the program. This is my 3rd time working through it, but I have a different type of journaling that works for me. If this is your first time, I do recommend working through the pages as Julia describes them in her program. And what she calls the censor, I call the critic. So someone who, the voice that's always, the naysayer or telling us we're not good enough or whatever we try isn't going to work or be good enough. So we have different terms for that as well. She also talks about the artist dates. That's something you do once a week. You schedule it with yourself. You stick to it. Think of it like any other appointment you would make with someone else. And during that time, whatever amount of time you have, whether it's just 10 minutes or whether it's an hour, set it up according to your schedule and you do something fun. It might be going for a walk in nature. It might be going to a craft store and looking through supplies. For people who do online shopping, it might be, virtual dream shopping or shopping and ordering things. It's about connecting with yourself, having fun, making time for you, and making yourself a priority. So even if you're not able to get to some of the other activities and exercises, I highly recommend the artist date. And she goes on to say that the artist dates help us to pick up the voice of inspiration. So again, we're looking at having some fun and tapping into our creativity, all of that great stuff. The next paragraph, she says, art is not about thinking something up. It's about the opposite, getting something down. The directions are important here. In other words, she's saying it isn't just about sitting and thinking and imagining. It's about getting something accomplished, whether that's, starting a gratitude jar, whether that's making a junk journal. Art is about the doing part of the process. The imagining, all of that is step 1. There may be some planning required, but then the actual art is getting it done. Whether that's getting an outline for a novel, whether that's writing jot notes for a video, writing a script. Personally, I just do jot notes to make sure that I have the points covered, but other people write out a full script and follow it. And again, that's knowing when and how to tweak what works best for you in terms of creation and what you're doing. Same with writing a novel. I've been honored to meet a number of different artists, writers, and had them on my live streams, and each of them has a different process for how they get their projects completed. Some have an outline that they follow and start putting things together. Hey, Kat, thanks for joining. My camera decided to die, and my webcam doesn't want to hook up yet to StreamYard. So here we are. You get to see Tiki as I talk. But yeah, so, it's everyone's got their own process. Some will do outlines, some will just sit and type their pages. And again, you've got to find and tweak whatever works best for you. Same with YouTube content. And yes, Kat, my camera is misbehaving. She's having a rave. That's funny. And she actually, this picture is hilarious too, because at least she's got the artist way beside her there. So it works for the artist way. Talk about the week and do some reading and craft sprints. But yeah, so we all have different ways even of doing YouTube content creation. I mean, Kat can just get in front of the camera, talk, and she's done. Lucky Kat. I cannot do that. I get on, I talk, I get off this tangent, that tangent, all over the place, and then I end up having to edit it. And it's usually about half the time of what I ended up recording. So I don't know, maybe I need better jot notes. So week 7, we're getting in the practice of the right attitude for creativity. We need to be receptive, working on active skills, areas of genuine creative interest. Cat, editing's too much work to not make a penny. Well, yeah, been there as well. We're both on 4 years and agree. Yeah, that's something I have to learn, Kat, editing shorts, noise, or clips together. And see, because I just do that on my phone, I still haven't learned that. And I know that both you and Nicole are able to do a lot of different things with your shorts. I notice Nicole has different music, so do you, and some of the different editing. So that's another step. Although Cindy, another friend, does hers, I'm pretty sure she said during the live stream on her computer. So I'm going to have to get that figured out at some point, because I had the cute groundhog doing her house cleaning yesterday with this and gathering up the straw and things. But I can't put it up the way it is because Bob had his music playing in the background. Okay, cool. Free video editor on the phone. Yeah, I'll have to check that out and see how that works, because there's so many different things, and I'm really trying to minimize the number of things that I have in terms of tech, which reminds me I need to, this morning or this afternoon, get some email caught up. And a lovely individual invited me to their Substack. I have no idea what that is. But again, it would mean getting something else, another password, another thing to keep track of. And I'm just right now, instead of getting new things, well, other than Restream, and I'll have to figure that out a bit more. But I'm really trying to minimize how many things I have. Actually, that was part of the conversation on the weekend. When we had company, it was a lovely time and lots of interesting conversations about books and nature and animals and so many other things. And Tiki had a blast getting snuggled and cuddled. And yeah, she was just eating that up. But we were talking about now how it's insane how many different things you have on technology, and they all need different passwords, and you need to keep up with them because of this and that and everything else. It's a lot, and I don't want to be on tech all the time. I'm trying to be on it less and less. So yeah, I'll have to see. Yeah, Tiki definitely was spoiled while Panther hid. He had his lunch under the bed and silly little Boo. And then of course he could have come out at any point. But then the silly Boo, once he heard us saying goodbye and he heard the door close, he was already at the end of the hallway, like, oh, are they gone? And came out to check. It's like, you silly Boo. They would have loved to have cuddled and snuggled and visited with him, but we'll see. Maybe next time. And I'm just checking over my notes here. And I've mentioned before, although I can't show you because the camera's not playing nice, along with the information from each week, she's got quotes from a variety of people down the side. In this case, in terms of listening, she has a quote from Starhawk. I've mentioned Starhawk before. She has a number of different books. I've mentioned The Earth Path and The Spiral Dance. An amazing individual and very much about the Wiccan path and all her experiences on that journey. She's an amazing individual. I'm really sorry I didn't get to meet her or go see her when she was here a number of years ago doing a talk. Now, Julia also talks about, and we're still on listening. This is on page 118. So some people find it easier to picture the stream of inspiration as being like radio waves of all sorts being broadcast at all times. With practice, we learn how to hear the desired frequency on request. We tune in to the frequency we want. Like a parent, we learn to hear the voice of our current brainchild among other children's voices. So again, it's getting in touch with ourselves, being aware of what's around us, but more than that, what we want to tune into, what we want to focus on and pay attention to. This voice frequently shows itself in synchronicity. Now that ties in with James Redfield and the Celestine Prophecy. He talks quite a bit about synchronicity. Of course, this all goes back to Carl Jung, who was talking about synchronicity and archetypes long before a lot of these self-help programs and other authors became popular. Synchronicity is looking for those connections. So, for example, and this one always works great, when I was trying to find the Star Trek series, and I came across it at the thrift store and found all 10 of them, which was definitely, whether you call it luck, synchronicity, those books haven't been there again. And I don't mean all 10 of them at once to pick up. I mean, none of them have been there from that particular series by Alan Dean Foster, the Star Trek logbooks. I haven't seen them again since. There's been a number of other Star Trek books there, of course, but not that series. So finding all 10 of them, I mean, the odds are insane of being able to find them. And if I really was Spock, I could tell you exactly how many or what the odds were. So on the part of listening, Julia finishes by saying, expect the universe to support your dream. It will. Now, having read that, again, I mean, we need to be realistic about our dreams. I've been putting out about winning Lotto Max for decades. We haven't obviously won it yet, or I'd have a camera that works right now. And I do have a camera that works, just not with StreamYard at the moment. But my point with, yes, it is nice to dream and giggle and carry on about winning Lotto Max. I mean, somebody has to win, so putting it out to the universe isn't a bad thing. But I mean, in terms of your dreams, whether it's a job or, something else, you need to be realistic. So if there's a certain job you want, you can't just dream that you're going to get that job and the universe will give it to you. You have to have the education. You have to put some effort into it. Just dreaming without plans or action isn't going to get you to your final goal. So that part with expecting the universe to support your dream should have the addition of, provided you're willing to take the steps necessary, whether that's meeting new people, taking a risk like uploading your first YouTube video, drafting out your first novel, or trying your first painting, which, by the way, the first are always going to be a challenge, especially if you're doing a YouTube video or learning to draw. That takes practice. That takes time. It's not going to be perfect the first go around. And I'm just going to catch up as Kat is sharing comments. And thank you, Kat, for that. It's not called Security Cat for nothing. So true. Tiki's the only one I know comes out for strangers. Yep. Rest make you wait at least a day. Exactly. And I think with Tiki, part of it is because she was in a shelter at first, and then she was at PetSmart till we found her and brought her home. So she's used to people being around her. Panther was born in our backyard, part of the feral colony, and except for his brother Shadow, the others, well, Lily now is the exception as well. But I mean, Chin and Hope and Goldie, who are also out there, don't come up to me. Shadow was the only one from the family who was all Mr. Snuggly, and his sister Sweet Pea. But Panther was not so much. Quite the score. Yeah, I agree. Like finding that series, all 10 of them, was a huge surprise. Yeah, I agree. We are due to win. It'd be nice to have something. I mean, I'll be grateful for all the good things that are happening, and there certainly are some at the moment. But yeah, I can't lie that, 10 or 20 million wouldn't make things a lot better. Yeah. Well, the steps don't always work either, sadly. And again, that sometimes, is it the timing? Is it the steps? All of that. The reviews are 1,000. Sorry, allergies still. And that's the other, is whether it's shorts or a video. I mean, it still boggles my brain when I see people with thousands of subs, and some will disappear. Creators will disappear for months because life, things happen, work schedules, all the rest of it. You watch two of them put up videos within a week or so of each other, and one will get a couple hundred views. The other one might, if they're lucky, get 50 views. And yet, what was different? Because they've both been away, they both have a number of subs, and yet one video will do better than the other. So it isn't a matter of you've got to post regularly and consistently. It's, yeah, sometimes trying to figure out YouTube and how that happens it's a hop and a skip to crazy town for sure. But so in week number 7, Julia goes on to talk about perfectionism. And this is one thing, one of the biggest things I think that get in the way of people creating whatever it is you're wanting to create or do, is worried about it's not good enough. And that's what stops a lot of people from putting up that first YouTube video. I mean, my channel actually started in July 2020, but I didn't put up my first video. Wait, no, that had to be later than that. And see, I don't have the date in front of me. In any case, July was when I started my channel, had the name, but I didn't put up a video until April. So it was almost a year, and I'd made videos, I'd edited videos, I deleted videos, and it was finally just, you know what? I You've got to give it a try. You've got to expect that your first video isn't going to be spectacular. It's going to take practice being comfortable in front of a camera, making sure you're enunciating and saying what you want to say and all of that stuff. Yeah, a bunch of Virgos. There's another thing there's a lot of things I need to get to in terms of what I want to look at and read, and astrology is definitely up there. Now, Julia says, and I agree, this is on page 119, perfectionism is a refusal to let yourself move ahead. And it's true, whether it's, it's not good enough, or I don't look good enough, my voice just doesn't sound right, whatever, all of that gets in the way. Whether it's, being nitpicky about ourselves or what we're saying. I've heard so many booktubers commenting that, well, what am I doing talking about reviews? And I'm thinking, why would you stress about that? I mean, people are tuning in to hear your thoughts about the book. If they're wanting plot, setting, all of that type of thing, then they'll go find a different video. But if they're just wanting to hear about, what did you think about the book? Was it interesting? Would you recommend it? Was it a fun read? Are there things to be mindful or aware of? Then everybody can talk about their experience with a book. You don't need a degree to share your thoughts on a book. Sometimes I sound like a kid. And I love that cute little voice that you have, or fun size voice, I should say. Julia also mentions on page 120, instead of enjoying the process, the perfectionist is constantly grading the results. And I know for myself, when I'm recording different things, that's exactly what gets in the way. Is as I'm talking, I'm trying to pay attention to, am I looking at the camera? Am I looking off? What's my facial expression? Do I sound excited or not? Is this something I enjoy listening to or watching? And it just makes the whole thing more and more challenging. And yeah, see, and we do all do it different. So Ven can spend 20 minutes explaining one book, and you can do it in 4. And there are other channels. I know Jim, who is I've met in Margaret's live streams. I think he has it down to a minute. Might be 2 minutes, but I think it might be 1 minute. And I know I've read some of those books, and he doesn't talk fast. And I'm like, he covers the information. He does a great job at it. There's just no way I could cut it down to that. And part of me is because I get excited about the book. I want conversation. I want to hear other people's thoughts. But I also figure with the amount of time that some people spend writing a book, I don't want to rush through and, give a little short review. But again, I mean, everyone's got to do what makes sense for them and what works best for them. The other part, of course, to all of this, so we have about the listening, paying attention to what's around you, being mindful of the signs, being mindful, is it the right time for all of that to flow through? And again, this is where I go back to The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It may seem frustrating and like a detour or we're off track, but there's a lot of other skills that we're picking up and getting during that process. So it isn't necessarily you're off track. It's just it isn't meant to be right now or at this particular time. Then we talked about, the problem with perfectionism getting in the way and stopping us before we even start. And then, of course, the other part to that is, are we willing to take the risk? I mean, certainly with YouTube, it's, well, okay, right now my camera's not working, but if it was, you're putting your face out there, you're putting your voice out there. We all know about the keyboard warriors and the trolls and all the rest of that. And so it is a big risk to put yourself out there and share your thoughts and ideas and all of that. Julia also mentions, this is page 121, we deny that in order to do something well, we must first be willing to do it badly. And again, that's, those first videos on YouTube, other than these people who are actors or producers, and there are a ton of those channels on YouTube. And I mean, they're used to that whole process. But for the rest of us who, don't work behind a camera or don't talk into microphones on a regular basis, or even use all the technology for editing and streaming and all that type of thing, it's a huge learning curve. And, there's learning that needs to be done. There's so many different things. I'll just use YouTube because it's the one I'm familiar with. So you've got, all the community guidelines, what you can and can't say in a video or a live stream. You've got your algorithms and all kinds of stuff. So again, it's being mindful of that. And some people, don't want to deal with all that type of thing. And that's fair enough. I mean, it can be soul crushing, whatever social platform you're on, and you're really excited about something and you've worked hard. Maybe you've done, the editing and added this and that, music and extra pictures, and you're thrilled with what you've produced. And you maybe get 10 views if you're lucky, and that can be soul crushing. But the key thing is not taking it personally. You have to remember there are millions of videos that go up every single day on YouTube. So getting any views is a huge thing. And focus on the views that you get and don't take it personally, because it's certainly not meant personally. I mean, life gets busy, things happen. Same with live streams. There were a couple years ago that I would go to, not on BookTube, but the people were always complaining that there weren't enough viewers. How come no one was watching theirs? And I'm like, hello, you've got people in here right now. How about you focus on the people who are there for you, not the people who can't hear you complaining that they're not in your stream. But you gotta roll with the, I don't know, roll with the tide, go with the flow, however you want to put it. You can't take it personally, or it will just, eat at you and eat at you. And that, of course, takes out all the fun of being involved in the process. So, yeah, you just got to roll with it and be happy with where things are at. Yeah, the amount of rant or rave affects the time it takes. Yeah, and that's in terms of editing. That's why I still need to do that book ban tag. I've got to go through my tag book and figure out who tagged me. Hopefully, YouTube still got all the mentions there. Although I've noticed. Thankfully, someone did get in touch with me because they've tagged me, but it's not showing up in my mentions. Yeah. Meetings to decide an insult. Yep. It's interaction, so jokes on the trash. Yeah, see? It's all about perspective. And that's true. They don't stop to think that the more they comment, or the fact that they do comment, YouTube, well, I guess sadly, doesn't take note of the positive interaction versus negative. They're just looking how many comments that you have, not the type of comments. Yeah, great perspective. So many millions to compete with. Yeah, exactly. And only so much free time in a day. And that's it. I mean, some people may start on tech first thing in the morning and, they're on it the majority of the day for a variety of reasons. I mean, for some people who don't get out and about, it's their interaction and it keeps them connected with people, which isn't a bad thing. So it's a good thing that there's so many different options and platforms available so that people can make those connections or at least have a human voice. Well, hopefully it's a human voice they're listening to and not getting conned by AI voices. And I actually need to check out an article because just before I came on, I noticed that, well, we had that storm here last week that was pretty wicked. And I know from Bob driving around, there were a lot of huge trees that were uprooted, a lot of damage. People had lost hydro. But I also just saw an article in our local newspaper and yeah, I know it sounds funny saying newspaper because years ago when you went in a store, the papers were all there, which they're not now. They're mostly online. But anyhow, in our local online paper, I should say, it said that some of the pictures that had been shared were AI generated. So I'm really curious about what happened there. And it sounds like there were some people who put up pictures of damage that didn't even happen in the area. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, really, people don't have anything better to do, but here we are. So Julia also goes on to talk about think about all the things you would love to try if you weren't letting fear or perfectionism get in your way and giving some of those things a try. She's got a list of 20 things in the book, and just a few of them are, well, let's see, number 15 is, if you weren't afraid, writing a short story, or you might try drawing people, learning a new language, trying something different with, she's got 18, which is funny, learning to shoot a video. And I mean, even with that, there's a difference between being in front of the camera or behind the camera. There's just so many different things. So being mindful of what are you keeping yourself from trying or doing because of perfectionism or fear, and taking a risk. She also goes on to talk about jealousy and how that's a mask for fear. So, and I'm sure this is where a lot of these trolls and keyboard warriors come in, It's a lot easier to make fun of people or type rude things than take the risk yourself. I'm guessing, although not in all cases, a lot of those people who are making those rude, ignorant comments to content creators are not content creators themselves. They just troll around and try and create havoc and drama and issues because they have nothing better to do. I mean, it could be their lives are just not great, and so they're lashing out at other people instead of looking at their own lives and making improvements and that type of thing. I'm just reading over here because, like I mentioned earlier, I don't have my notes, silly me. So on page 124, at its root, jealousy is a stingy emotion. It doesn't allow for the abundance and multiplicity of the universe. Jealousy tells us there's room for only one poet, one painter, one whatever you dream of being. So again, instead of taking that risk or doing it yourself, you just shut things down. Now, she also suggests doing what she calls the jealousy map. And you put 3 columns on a piece of paper. First column is who, the why are you jealous, and what's the action or the antidote. So the example she has listed here, first is the who is her sister Libby. Why is she jealous? Because Libby has a real art studio. What's the action or antidote? To fix up her spare room, and then she can create art in there. So going through, and again, this isn't about being judgy or hard on yourself. It's about what's really getting in the way of your creativity and how can you fine tune and fix that so that it isn't an issue. Even the biggest changes begin with small ones. And of course, to know what changes you need to make, you have to be honest with yourself, do up that chart, take a look at things, and decide where do you need to tweak and fine tune. And again, as you're going through all of this, it isn't about making yourself feel bad or making yourself feel less than. It's about where do you need to make changes and fine tuning. What are the baby steps that you can take to start moving in the direction that you want to go? Now, on page 125, she has an archaeology exercise. And this is about, again, taking a look at yourself. So there's 10 questions you complete, and these have to do with what is it as a kid that you wanted to do? Where did you want to be? What did you want to work at? And, what were your ultimate dreams? And again, it's, where are you now? Where did you want to be? And how can you bring those two things together? She says on page 125, it's important to acknowledge our positive inventory as well as our shortfalls. Take positive stock of what good you have to build on in the present. So then you finish another set of phrases and you're taking a look at what's going right. My self-care is blank. I'm getting better at blank. So really looking at where are those improvements coming from? What have you done that was a nice surprise and unexpected? Looking at both of those exercises, the kid and now, and then where do you need to fine tune and make those improvements? Then this week, as always, ends with the 10 different tasks. Again, she doesn't expect that you're going to finish all 10 of them in the week. The idea is to go through, decide which ones speak to you the most. And that doesn't mean they're the easiest ones. It means which ones do you really need to take a look at so that you can get back on track and moving forward. And then the check-in is, were you doing your morning pages if you're doing that as part of this? Did you keep your artist date? What aha moments did you have this week? Did fear other things get in your way this week? And making note of all of that. Now, I went through and I've already picked the exercises that I'm going to be doing this week. One I'm looking forward to all of them, but the one is really going to be fun, and that's making a collage. So putting together where it is you want your life to be. And it's the same as a vision board. So I need to do that. And I have been looking at my bulletin board that I've shared in videos, and I think I need to redo that. Number 9, and this is very important for the channel as well, name your favorite topics to read about. And are these topics in your collage? So again, tuning into where are you at, what's important, what matters. A number of the exercises I already do and I've done before. So number 4 this week, create one wonderful smell in your house with soup, incense, fir branches, candles, whatever. I mean, I do that regularly. I light incense every day. It's just a lovely way to brighten up a room, especially in the wintertime when you can't have the windows open. When I'm cooking, the house always has a great smell. So I do that regularly anyway. Number 3 is take yourself into a sacred space. So finding somewhere you're comfortable and relaxed. And again, I do that every day because I go outside in the yard to feed the feral cats and the birds and all the other critters who come by. So I'm always in that, to me, sacred space of I feel comfortable. I love seeing how the yard changes, who comes by to visit, which birds come by, the squirrels, all of it. So 3 and 4, I already do consistently anyway. Number 5 is kind of fun. Wear your favorite item of clothing for no special occasion. So, playing dress up or wearing a dress around the house. I mean, it's not like the birds or the cats care what I'm wearing when I go outside, but sometimes it's just fun to have on a comfy dress, especially in the summertime when you can go out and enjoy the warmer weather. So that is week 7. And next week, week 8, we go on to recovering a sense of strength. I'm just going to catch up on Kat's comments. I'm not sure if we have any lurkers or ghosts. The number keeps popping up and down, but thanks, Kat, for sharing comments. And yeah, I agree. AI is such a mess. And some of them, I mean, it was mind-boggling. I've been looking at some different topics online lately, so not booktube related. And it was wild knowing that this one channel is AI. I mean, the voice does, I don't know how many other channels. And yet people were believing this crap. And yet the title was clickbait, so was the thumbnail. And the video was just the same images over and over again. So, and I've heard this voice on at least 5 different channels, and it's all nonsense. I mean, it's just creating drama-rama. But what it did make me think of is, it's funny, years ago, the soap operas were a big thing, Guiding Light and Another World, General Hospital's still going. The Young and the Restless is still going. Bold and Beautiful was around. I think that one might still be going. I mean, there were a ton of them. The Doctors and Days of Our Lives, which just ended a year or so ago. And a number of them have gone over the years. Edge of Night. There's probably a bunch of others I'm forgetting. But isn't it interesting that people aren't watching soap operas anymore like they used to, but instead they're creating drama-rama all over social media. So now they're not watching soap operas and the drama, they're just kind of creating their own. And I don't know, it occurred to me the other day, especially, when I'd noticed Days of Our Lives were gone, because that was on for decades and decades and decades. But as that stuff has been disappearing, there's all this other stuff happening on social media. So away from TV, but moved on to something else. I don't know. It's just kind of curious how that happens. Yeah, even their moms can't stand them. Maybe. I'm not sure they're all basement dwellers, but some probably are. Yeah, Action and the Evil Rich Guy die. Well, yeah, we got to pick what makes us happy, puts a smile on our face. Yeah, baking, and that's it. It's a fun activity. The house smells lovely. You have a finished product to enjoy after you do it. And same as doing some craft things, whether that's knitting or coloring or whatever craft you enjoy doing, because at the end of it, not only have you had some fun time, but you have something to see at the end of it. The cooking and baking is great because your house smells wonderful even after you've been able to enjoy that treat or that meal, all of that type of thing. Need protection. Little man has raptor claws. Franny likes to punch. Well, and Panther lately has been more into the poke with the paws of I want attention, which is hilarious because, oh, he could have had so many snuggles. Yeah, I used to watch General Hospital too. Well, yeah. Hot chicks. Well, there were probably some on some of the other soaps too. But yeah, I mean, I used to watch General Hospital, Another World, Days of Our Lives for the longest time, and then I just stopped. I mean, it's funny. There was a time the TV went on in the morning. I'd watch the game shows, I'd watch the soap operas, then we'd watch stuff in the evenings. When I wasn't at work, because I mean, when I was working, it was 40 to 60 hours a week, depending on the jobs I was in, whether it was social services or education. But then I don't know, I got tired of the amount of time I was sitting in front of a TV. And now I'm becoming really mindful of the amount of time I'm sitting in front of technology. And to be honest, that's part of why I'm thinking and leaning more towards doing some of the reading creativity sprints, because then I can sit and get some of my paperwork and things done, like figuring out what I need to read, how much have I read, where am I headed, and planning things out. And, I can have videos running in the background when I do it, but I figured I can also do it as sprints because, people then can chat and connect and all of that fun stuff. Yeah, reality TV, which of course isn't, and influencers, which it's interesting how many videos I've seen of some of them currently doing time. Yeah, blah. Cute when the cat, yeah, tap. Except when JB uses claws with his. Well, Panther sometimes will keep his claws out because he wants to be sure that you've noticed he's there. He's such a stinker. Yeah, they certainly can be, and I appreciate you popping in and sticking around, Kat. And yeah, so I've chatted about week 7. I think I'm going to take a pause. Oh, I guess I can put a banner up and maybe take, let's see, it's 10 o'clock, so maybe let's take an hour. So back at 11 o'clock. And then that gives us time to do some reading, get some coffee. I have my coffee beside me. You just can't see it because camera's not working. And yeah, I'm going to go catch up on some comments and I'll be back. And don't throw out little man's peanuts, Cat. He may want to go chase them again, and then Pearl won't get any. Read, do some. Oh, diamond painting. Yeah, I want to see how that goes. Yeah, I can't do the little, ew, coffee, gross. See, not the same voice. It's so much cuter when you do it. All right, I'm going to mute myself and I'll be back at 11. And I'll keep an eye on the comments in case anyone else comes in and joins us. Hey, and I'm back with no camera. Now I'm gonna just, no, still saying no camera. Oh, well. Ooh, a book on burnout. Oh, no. And it's made you cry. I've got one on burnout. It's called Burning Bright. I think the author is Kelsey Patel. And it doesn't make you cry. It's actually a really great read. So you might want to check that out, Margaret. Who's this book by that you're reading? And yeah, actually, I need to catch up on, I need to catch up on BookTube in general, and I've been kind of trying to stay off tech during the day. So sorry, Margaret, I've been missing your live streams because they come up just after lunch here. But yeah, I've got tags and booktube and different things to catch up on, but life, life and energy and things happening. And yeah, I've made note of that book that you mentioned, Margaret. Emily and Amelia. Just gotta put Emily and Amelia Nagoski. One's a scientist. Ooh, twin sister is a musician. That's cool. Heard of them from a podcast. Yeah, see, that's something again, just so many hours in a day. There's so many videos I want to catch up on. But Bookish Chaz just had a video. I saw burnout as the first word notification on thing. Sorry, I'm kind of all over the place. Brain, but that should be hopefully improving in the next few weeks as some of the other things change. Yeah, Chaz has a video that says burnout in the title, but I haven't clicked on the video, so I need to check out what he's got. Okay, no, it's nonfiction. It's Burning Bright. I think it's Kelsey K. Let me just check my book list, which I actually have handy. And yeah, sorry, I'm not actually on the screen. Oh, and of course, I don't have the whole book list printed off. I just printed off my to be finished and my to be read from my master list. So let's see, do I have it on this group of pages? No, of course not. And I think the book itself is out in the other room, but she talks about Reiki. Yes, there we go. Good. Just look. Yeah, it's a great book, Margaret. She's got some great ideas. She talks about Reiki, but there's some really uplifting, good suggestions there. Ooh, a hummingbird. Just read, okay, so I need to catch up. So Kat's doing a hummingbird diamond painting while watching the grackles. Yeah, they're interesting birds with their shiny blue heads, but they're kind of bullies. But that would be a beautiful diamond painting, Kat. Looking forward to seeing how that goes. Burning Bright, mostly fantasy. That's interesting. Have to check that out. Hummingbird in the patio. Oh, lovely. Ooh, lavender. Yeah, I've tried to grow that and it just hasn't taken yet, but I might give it a try because the groundhogs, I don't think munched it. It just, with the hot, cold, and wild weather we have here lately, hasn't, yes, Kelsey Patel. Woohoo! I guess I do have a bit of a memory after all because I haven't looked at that book in a bit, but yay, glad I remembered it. And yeah, I need to reread that actually. So thank you for mentioning that, Margaret, and I'll be checking out that other title as well. Yeah, Flit hasn't visited. Oh, in almost 2 weeks. Yeah, it's way too early here for the hummingbirds, I think, but hopefully soon. We've got big rumblebees that are loving the lilacs, which we had some smell, but then it got cold again. So, yikes. Yeah, blown into a window. Gusts and downpours. Yeah, that sounds like our kind of weather here. But lately, it's been raining overnight, which in a way is good, but that's kind of not typical how it happens here. Put book chica. Ooh, vid on list 2. There we go. But oh, Margaret, what was that journal you mentioned? If you answered, I missed it. You mentioned a certain journal, a shark journal. And then Margaret, our research person, found the holiday. I'm guessing this is the holiday in the UK today. Whit Monday. Interesting. And I still think it's funny. We had Queen Victoria Day last weekend because for some reason we're still celebrating her birthday, but the UK doesn't, which is where she was the queen. Too interesting. Yeah, batten down for sure. And I had read the article from the Free Press because we had that storm here last week. It was a downspout, not a tornado, so that at least is good. Still did a bit of damage, but then there were people putting out AI photos of damage that wasn't real. And then, of course, people don't check their sources and shared them all out. It's like, wow. Oh, well, I'm glad yours aren't too bad. It's the grackles here are nasty. And the starlings, because they always come in groups. Really, the mourning doves? Ours don't really bother the other birds unless they're chasing each other around, and the robins don't bother with anybody. They're just gathering their worms. Realized I was calling robins here. Oh, grosbeaks. Those are cool. Merlin app has been fun. I'm guessing that's to help identify the birds, Margaret? And yeah, grosbeaks, they're gorgeous, but we only get them a cup. Oops, I should turn the banner off, by the way. I'm like back here. We only get grosbeaks a couple of times a year, and then they travel on. So we must be on their migration path. Ooh, huge lavender patch in New Mexico. Oh, really? You don't like the smell? Oh, I love lavender. Plus, it's a natural anti-inflammatory, so I mix it in lotion, and I love the smell of lavender and lilacs. I wish the smell lasted so much longer. Shark's Journal and Play. Oh, cool. All right, got to put that one down as well. See, good thing I've got my notepad next to me here. All right, I got to check that out. Sarks. Definitely could use some fun and playtime for sure. Yeah, the same cat, and same with those cute little blue ones that you have. We only, well, The blue ones I haven't seen in over a decade, so it was a fluke. But the grosbeaks we get a couple of days and then that's it. Yeah, just not in some foods. Yeah, I don't put although I do have lavender that I can put into food. I should try some of it in my yogurt actually. And it's not from the yard. It's I bought from a place in Port Stanley that does spices. Yeah, grosbeak. And they don't look gross. I don't know why they did that. Yeah, AI clowns. And it even said in the article, I guess the university here did a study and they're like, check your sources before you're sharing out things. And the grackles, they're gorgeous. I mean, they're larger, mostly black, but they have this beautiful, shiny blue head. They're just nasty sometimes. Oh, yep. And I got sark down instead of shark. Thanks, Margaret. Do you like herb de Provence? Oh, it does have lavender in it. Really? Well, there you go. Something I did not know. And yep, I did write it down as sark. Thanks, Margaret. Still love Blue Jays. Yeah, they are different. Yours seem to be a little bit lighter. And yeah, there's some in other places as well. Like it. Oh my goodness. That's a long word. Oh, thank you, Margaret. Legacy of colonizer naming. Yeah, there you go. And we've lost Jen somewhere, so I hope she's doing okay. And I know Ven traveled back to work. I've got a little more time. I was going to keep going until noon, so I might. Grackles may have been hurt in the last bad boys now. Yeah, just well, they've got huge, pointy, sharp beaks, and they get nasty with my little sparrows, but we have a deal with them and have had a conversation with them as, you're welcome. You can have some seed, but just don't be picking on the little ones and other ones. Yeah, green, blue. Yeah, agreed, Kat. Ours are the same. It's mostly a blue, but yeah, depending on how the sun hits them, there can be some green and purple in them, which is interesting. Like they're gorgeous birds to look at. It's just when they start getting nasty with my little birds is frustrating, but they're and like no, the starlings were here year round. But the grackles and the turkey vultures are just in the spring, same as the robins here. And it's funny when we're saying about different birds because in the UK, the robins are much smaller than the robins that we have that come up here. Like there's the robins in the UK, I think, are about the size of our sparrows in that. They're not very big, but our robins up here are like the size of mourning doves. They're a much larger bird. But typically the robins just go around the feeders to get the worms because with all the seed and especially when it's been raining in that, it's like huge harvest area. I should see if I can bring up like that worm I found yesterday was crazy because I was getting some of my grapevine. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Will it yeah. He's like huge and a happy worm. So I moved him into the yard because he was in the driveway from some of the he was under the stumps that I still need to get put in the back. There's the word. Thank you, Margaret. Iridescence. So the different all depends on how the sun hits them for sure. Red belly, big woody, get feisty with other big birds. To protect our sparrows in the feeder. So cute. Oh no, MIA. Red-headed woodpecker this weekend. Nice. Now, is it a woodpecker cat or a flicker? Because those are cute, but we haven't had, I've heard the flicker, but I haven't seen them lately. Starlings just showed up this year. Oh, goodness. Yeah, you don't want them around too much, though, because they poops everywhere. They're messy, messy birds. Yeah, I haven't seen worms that big either, but I'm very happy to see that we've got a bunch of worms. Well, they're under the wood, so I've got to get the wood and that soil moved from the driveway. But when I was working under the bird feeders the other weekend, there were quite a few there, and I've noticed in different spots where I've been working, we've got quite a few worms, which makes me happy because it means the soil is healthy. It might be an alien. Yeah, well, and there's kind of whittling and stuff too, but you do get some interesting insects for sure. Ooh, northern flickers. Couple times, yeah. We haven't had, when I had the bird bath up higher, the flicker would come. But since it's closer to the ground now, I don't know, it seems to be nervous about it. Bird book said, yeah, it could be a woodpecker cat. Depends on if it's black and white, because it might be a downy. If it's a beigey type, and I could be wrong, check the bird book or Google, then it would be a flicker. I'm not sure if the flickers come in other colors or not, because it's been quite a few years since we've had one here. they're, they're all messy. Not just, they all do it, hanging feeder. They covered the top of it. My goodness. Yeah, sometimes that happens. Not as bad as the starlings on the deck, though. And I notice on the deck, because they come for the cat kibbles. Like they don't thankfully bother so much with the feeders. And the feeder area is mostly clean and good, but yeah, they leave a mess on the deck and sometimes on the top of the feeders and that as well. I don't notice so much with the little ones or the cardinals or the blue jays, but you definitely notice with the starlings. Maybe because they come more in a crowd of like 10, 20 instead of, just a few little cuties at a time like the other ones. And mind you, it would be a different thing too, like a sparrow versus a starling. So, and what was your stream about? Bird poop. You just never know what's going to come up in the conversation. Oh no! What got you, Margaret? Yeah, and see, we've got seagulls, and now they tend to be around the malls and stores and things because garbage pails and everything else, and fast food places because of all the food and whatnot. But yeah, don't have them in the yard. And I agree, that would be rude to get pooped down by a bird. Being tracked. Just a random bird. Yeah, but did you not see what it looked like, Margaret? I'm trying to think. I think I have been next to somebody who got hit by the bird. Just take her windshield. Oh. Yeah, Leslie and some interesting theories for sure. But hey, she's probably not the only one. It's interesting what kinds of theories and things people come up with. Oh no, oh, it was a flyby. It's the one thing, and well, who knows? Now that I've said it, it'll probably happen. It's the one thing that for all the time I spend on the beach where there's tons of seagulls and other birds, and for all the time that I spend outdoors and that, and the birds flying over, so far I haven't been hit by them, but that's just probably luck or fluke, I guess. But I do know, like with the pigeons and that too, which we haven't had very many of them. So I don't know if they'll be coming back or not, because, well, mind you, we've also got the red tail and the Cooper's hawks here. So we haven't had near as many mourning doves as we used to. And the pigeons, we don't have as much either. So I don't know if that's because of the hawks in the area or not. It's interesting how many things have changed in, well, probably almost 40 years I've been around this area, because I lived up in around this way when I went to college as well. And then since we've been married and had the house. But yeah, I'm hoping I can see the little chipmunk this year. Yeah, probably a joke unless some others. Yeah, agreed. Beach, there's people in sun. Tempted offing. And we used to spend hours and hours on the beach. But sadly, Cat Bob, like you, is fair skinned. And the poor guy, we took him the one time and he didn't say anything. And man, did he get burnt to a crisp, silly dude. And the rest of us used to just hang out on the beach and tan, but no, poor guy burnt to a crisp. Yeah, no doubt she was joking. I mean, I don't know. So many different things. The world is a very unusual and bizarre place these days, and you just never know. Sat out for about 15 minutes on the patio. Nice. Legs were marble white. Uh-oh. What color are they now, Margaret? Need to break them in, yeah, if I don't want to blind people. You also need to make sure you have sunblock on, because growing up, well, and we were grew up in the country, and so farmer kids or worked on farms, and our big thing was to get to the beach when we had days off. So we were already out in the sun most of the time anyway and tanned. Or I'd sit outside on summer break from school and read books. But to be honest, now there's no way I would lay out in the sun for hours and hours like I used to. It just is not the same sun it used to be. Cat, gladly blind folks with the neon between freckles. But yeah, I now, even when I go out to read, I don't sit out in the sun and read. I sit under the gazebo and in the shade. So and I do get a lot of sun when I'm working, but I make sure I wear a hat. And no, I don't use sunscreen, because I typically just burn really good once and then it turns to tan the rest of the year. But working out in the sun and just sitting still in the sun is very different. Yeah, sun protection for face for sure, and neck. Oh, not for total white areas, trying to get them to slow roast. Yeah. Well, and 15 minutes, so just going out for a little bit at a time is good. I mean, some of my friends have, when we were out on the beach, have fallen asleep, and yeah, you get really cooked. I mean, I have burnt my face so bad that my eyes were puffy, but that thankfully was only 1 year. But yeah, I definitely, it's the one thing I do miss about being out in the country. And we used to have a riding lawnmower, and yeah, cutting the grass was great, and you'd get such an amazing tan. It's also why I love working outside. Cat, oh no, more than 10 to 15, everything gets sunscreen. Yeah. And again, I mean, that's, knowing about your skin type and what you can handle. Yep. It's all I can stand, know my limits. Perfect. And that's it too, is, like everything, it's you need to be mindful of yourself, what you can handle, be mindful of the sun and all of that. I mean, I never used to wear a hat, but now I find if I'm out and working, I definitely need to wear a hat, or you just end up feeling blah instead of, getting things done and feeling accomplished and invigorated by all of that. So, yeah, it's like anything, right? It's being mindful of what you can do and what you can handle. The one thing I do miss about the beach is going swimming, but the beaches here are at least an hour plus drive away. So first I have to sit in the car. And I mean, we have pools and stuff here, but it's not the same as getting out in the lake. Yeah, see, so you've got the those fair jeans Scottish. Learned as a child, son's evil. Ooh, bubbles. Going to the pool, yeah. And that would happen is because the water intensifies the sun as well. Yeah, Bob's Irish, so he's got that fair skin as well. My family comes from Hungary, so in Europe, and we're naturally, thankfully, dark skinned to begin with. And then being out in the sun, it just turns to a golden tannish color, which is good. But like I say, that first burn of the year, but if you go out slow, and I don't burn as much as I used to, partly because, well, one, with the weather lately, it's definitely not sit outside in the sun type of weather without doing something. Working is different than just sitting in a chair. I'm hoping this year we end up having a bit of summer. I mean, we're almost into June. My furnace was on yesterday, which is insane. And at least I've had the window open today and haven't had to turn the furnace down. So it's improving a little bit. And yeah, it was funny. It was, I think, a few weeks ago. I'm pretty sure it's a few weeks ago. Jen was saying she had her air conditioner on, but then she's way down in Alabama. So just such different weather for everybody. And like, yeah, Ven saying how hot it is in the UK right now, and that's wild. Yeah, probably freezing up there too in the water. Yeah, the lakes would definitely not go to the lake and go swimming time of year right now, that's for sure. So, yeah, well, we've got about another half hour, but I'm thinking if we go sprinting from there, then I don't want to miss comments and that. Are you still doing your diamond painting, Kat? Want to see what that looks like at some point. And Margaret, how does it work with your complex? Everyone kind of has to take their turn at keeping the gardens and things clear. And how do you decide what gets planted and all of that? Like, does everyone, is there a committee who decides what kind of flowers and plants grow? Would be the one thing about being in a complex. Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. So at a Zoom meeting, few volunteered, okay, to keep from having Tommy the landscapers. Yeah, okay, the diamond painting. So before we get back to the diamond painting, yeah, that would be one thing living in a complex. That's okay, Margaret. Um, so yeah, keeping down the cost. So if you have people volunteering and keeping it up together, it makes a difference. Plus, I think then people pay more attention to it and take more pride and interest in it because it's something that you're working at and doing together. So, Kat, how big is this hummingbird when it'll be finished? Is it like an 8 by 10 or bigger? And you have to put each a little bit on separately, don't you? And is JB helping you? Because you were saying he was trying to get the shinies before, and now he's on the table where you do your diamond painting. That could be quite an adventure. I know Tiki would definitely be all over that. Zoom meeting with the building. That's a lot of folks. Yeah, that could be interesting. Oh, and that reminds me, Margaret, as you hear, I never did get Streamlabs to work. I know you said you only had it for a few weeks and then gave up on it, but I got Restream, and I actually need to play around with that and figure it out. I've got it for a year because it gives me unlimited streams, and I can stream on different platforms. I can have up to 10 guests in a live stream and stuff. And I think they've got a lot of the things that StreamYard offers, but much, much more economical. So I'm looking forward to playing around in that. And I might try that next Monday when I do week 8 for the arts and not arts and things. Ugh, brain dead. When I do the stream next Monday for week 8, I might try it in Restream and see how that works. Okay. Wow, 108 units. That's big. And only 14 people? Hmm. To show our level of participation. Yeah, I mean, because some of the units would have more than one, but hey, at least there were 14 there who took an interest. And yeah, oh, try the streaming schedule. Yeah. Because the other one definitely did not. I mean, I couldn't even get it to connect to YouTube. And at first, there was a little blip, but then it hooked up fine. So I'm going to have to try it again and see how that works. Because, yeah, with StreamYard, it's nice, but you only have 20 hours. And when I eventually get back to doing my Thursday live streams again, then I can't do sprints and stuff plus the live streams because that would eat up hours too quick. So hopefully, ooh, 13 by 13. So that's about the size of, well, some of the journal pages and that I have, but I'm trying to think of, brain fog. Uh, it's a good size for sure. But what am I trying to think? Oh, there's those books. It was all the rage years ago. Not a journal. There's a name for it. I'll probably think of it after I get off the computer. Not bookbinding. Oh, I'm getting closer. What was it? Everybody was doing it. There was stickers and special Everyone was getting all the fancy paper cutters and stuff to do it, not Photoshop. Like my brain is working around every word but what I'm trying to come up with. And people were their albums, book scrapping. Am I close? Not bullet journaling, Margaret. It was book scrapbooking. Thank you. See, I was dancing all over it. And yeah, those were the 13 by 13. So yeah, that would throw pillow size is another good way of thinking about it, Kat. It's easier than trying to do a puzzle, on his table. If I only have part of one color out at a time. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, because he would want the pieces from the puzzle. I've got a few jigsaw puzzles to put together, and then I glue them together because I never take them apart. But I haven't tried that since we've had Tiki, and I'm going to have to figure out where I can do that because even trying to do notes with Tiki is brutal because she'll grab your pen and highlighter and all the rest of it. Well, if I'm at my desk or the table in the living room, if I'm just sitting like on the couch or that and doing it, she doesn't bother trying to steal them from me. But if I'm sitting properly at the table or that, she's like, "Here, let me help you." And I'm like, "Sweetie, this is not help." And I can just imagine puzzle pieces. I'd be looking for ages in the house. That remind Margaret, how's Bean doing? The little Bean, because I know you were concerned a little while ago. So I hopefully dude's doing okay and feeling good and purring and being happy. Yeah, I think, well, I'm planning on doing yard work Tuesday, Wednesday. Looking forward to getting out there and hoping the weather decides to cooperate. So I think this afternoon I might start. Well, I'm literally looking at the Christopher Moore Youssef book, which, giggles might be a good thing to read right now. But on the other hand, I have one more, well, actually, I have two more Carpathian novels to read, but one that I picked up follows the other two that I got, and then the fourth one is somewhere else in the series. So I'm going to have to look through the author's website because there's 39 books in this romance series, and I'm not reading all 39 of them. But they have at least been interesting, and they've been decent reads with a good storyline to them. So that's good. There's like a little bit of Boom Chickawawa, but nothing like that stuff in Akatar. Aw, Sparrow's hanging out on Figgy. Ooh, and Baby Bunny. Oh, Jay scared him. Aw. I hope you love it. Yusaka Love Story tells you the humor. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to a good read and some comedy. Although I also need to finish reading Rick Mercer, so maybe I need to go through my to be finished list and knock a few more of those off before I keep starting more books. Yeah, it is a Disney life. She's got so many cuties with the bunnies hopping around and cute little squirrels and birdies. Oh, if only they let me pet him. He's gonna eat my lilies. She gets some ear scratches. Well, and with the groundhogs here, at least thankfully they're working their way up and down the yard. And there's certain plants I know that they enjoy. So I always make sure I leave some of them, even though other people call them weeds, I call them groundhog food. So I'm not pulling them up because means they'll leave them alone. And 'tis true, I do have baby groundhogs or woodchucks and baby skunks, and they are adorable. Now, I have seen the skunk again lately, but I've only seen one, so I don't know if we're gonna have any little baby skunks here this year or not. And they are adorable when they boogie around. But Bob said even driving around, he hasn't noticed many of them out and about. So I don't know. I think it was a harsh winter, not just for the humans, but for a lot of the critters as well. Although the bunnies seem to do well here, and the snow, I got to see them. Don't notice them so much this time of year, but same like the baby groundhogs, they really blend in with the dirt and the other colors. So it's hard to notice them unless you happen to be outside and see them hippity hopping past. And here they're not so much out in the daytime. It's more like evening or really early morning when the bunnies seem to come in the yard. And I haven't seen the chipmunk yet. I only saw one last year. We used to have them all the time before the cat feral colony moved in. Um, but the girls don't, well, because they don't have kittens anymore, so they don't really bother hunting. And they're, well, Chin, Hope, and Lily are all 11 years old, and Goldie's 10. And I mean, they're all in great shape, thankfully, and healthy. So that's a blessing at least. But they don't have the kittens to feed, and they get fed. A few of us take care of them and look after them. So they're not really hunters anymore, but it's taken a while before the populations kind of regroup and get back. Thumper's good at being sneaky, especially the baby. Pro, not so much, yeah. Oh, Miss Chipmunks. Yeah, me too. I had some hilarious photos of them. Once I start sorting through all my pictures, I'll have to put together a compilation. Aw, Franny. Yeah, well, we used to have moles, and my Storm, he was amazing. That boy could just move like the wind. So we didn't have a mole problem. Now, amazingly, they left the one day they caught a squirrel, and that was not good. And they were like freaking out because they thought they injured it. And after that, they would go running after the squirrels, but always made sure the squirrel had plenty of time to get away before they got closer. So, yeah, it's interesting how much the yard changes and with animals and insects and plants. And I just wish when they brought me plants, they would bring me tags so I knew what I had to pay attention to, whether it's a shade plant or something that's going to go like wild crazy or need to take extra care of it. But it is nice to see so much greenery out there finally. Bees are not rude, Cat. They're very important, and you know it. Hit the fan light and window. My goodness. Oh, flew right over flowering lime trees again. Oh no. Silly bees. They should be going to help out your limey. Well, see, and it's been so cold here. I still haven't even gone to the garden center to get stuff because there's no point because it's too cold to be planting. And even with the tea roses I moved, a couple of them seemed to be okay, but two of them not so much because it was a lovely day when I moved them. The soil was nice and wet from all the rain. And then it got brutal cold. And there's a couple of shrubs I wanted to move, but I don't dare dig them up. And now a couple of them are starting to flower. So I'm afraid if I try moving them now, I'll end up killing them, which is not good. Take care, Margaret. Thanks for stopping in. I'm back to read. Take care. But if I was outside, oh, it'd have stung me. Oh no! Flew over the planters, trying to get inside. Yep, enjoy your book, Margaret. Well, I think I am going to wrap up as well. Kat, I hope your diamond painting is going well. Leslie and Jen, thanks for popping in, and I hope the two of you get to enjoy your long weekend as well. And yeah, hopefully, oh, that's the other. I'm going to have to figure out how to get my camera working. So that's my project for the week, is how to do a live stream with my face on it. Anywho, well, thank you so much for joining along and chatting and commenting and sharing what you're reading and doing. At the front, I had the week 7 of Artist Way. Next week, we move on to week 8. And hopefully, I'll have some other projects and things to share. And until then, take good care, be well, be safe, big hugs.